What's going on, pilots? Welcome back to the channel. Today what we got here is the Xfly-model Twin Otter. Now this is available at bananahobby.com. So this model's got a wingspan of 70 inches, the fuselage length is 57 inches, and then all you're going to need to get this model in the air is a 5-channel receiver and a 6-cell LiPo of 5,000 to 6,000 milliamp. So let's go ahead and begin the unboxing of the Xfly-model Twin Otter. Alright, so now that we got the top covering off of the box, let's go ahead and go over some of the items that is included with the kit. So first things first, you got your bag with your instruction manual and then a bag of miscellaneous hardware that is included with the kit. Alright, so looks like the first item that we can take out is the vertical stabilizer. So pretty well detailed model. You've got navigation lights, and then the panels are actually painted very well, and the decals are applied already. So there's quite a bit of detail that is on this Twin Otter. So I'm pretty excited to put this thing together. And then also all of your servos are already pre-installed. So there's the horizontal stab, and then here is your vertical stab servo. So I'm going to set this aside. Alright, let's get the wing out. So this looks like the right wing. Take that former out. Alright. Alrighty, here we go. So here is your right wing. Looks pretty good, guys. So the paint looks pretty well done. I really like that. And then your navigation lights are already pre-installed. You got one on the leading edge and then also on the wingtip. Your motor is already pre-installed, and there's your spinner. Alright, we'll take the other wing out. Alright, here is the left wing. Alright. And then one thing I didn't mention is that your connectors are already installed right there on the wing root. So basically it's a direct plug-in, so for your servos and then power to the motor. So that looks like a XT30 connector up there. So you basically slide this wing in place, and there's no messing with servo wires plugging in. You just slide the wing in place and it locks in. So that makes setup at the field a lot quicker. Alright, let's see, let's get this horizontal stabilizer out. So here is the right side of the horizontal stab. Alright, I'll get the left side out. Paint and finish looks pretty well. I like it. Well done at the factory. And these are not foam hinges, they look like actual hinges in there. There's pin hinges installed on these, so it's not foam hinges, so that's pretty good. And the stabs are pretty rigid, so very nice. Well done at the factory from Xfly. Alright, see what we got here before we take the fuselage out. We got our carbon fiber spars for your horizontal and your wing that is included with the kit. We got another bag of miscellaneous item here. So it looks like these are for the wings. Also another one for the wing supports. And I know on the bottom of this foam, there's more items under it. Alright, so let's take the fuselage out. Oh wow, take a look at that. Look at those windows. Paint looks great on this model. Look at that. Let's check the bottom here. Alright. Wow, I'm excited to get this model in the air. Alright, let's get this hatch open to take a look at how much room you have in that battery tray. Oh my gosh, look at this. Lots of room in that compartment tray. Look at this. You could stick a 7,000 milliamp LiPo in there and then still have plenty of room for other electronics. So let's set this aside real quick because there is a couple more items that is on the bottom of the foam box here. So under the foam block houses your magnetic nose cone. So we're going to take that out. Set that there for now. This looks like your nose gear with the servo already pre-installed for nose steering, and this is a suspension nose gear. Your main gears are also down here. Alright, let's pull this out. Here's your main gear. Set this aside. There's one more bag of items, and your spinners for your motor. So that looks like is it for the unboxing of this Twin Otter. Let's go ahead and assemble this Xfly-model Twin Otter. Alright, so we're going to begin the assembly of the Twin Otter. Now I am going to skip around a little bit on the assembly from the manual, because on the manual it talks about installing the wings first and then installing the landing gears. I figured I'm just going to install the landing gears first, so that way I can set this plane on its main wheels, and then it'll make it a little easier to assemble this plane. So the first thing we're going to do is remove these brackets that hold the main gear. So you got 4 M3x10 screws here, and then another set here on the nose if you were going to be using the floats. But we are going to install the nose gear with the servo already installed for steering. So we're going to begin with the main gears first, removing the 4 screws, assemble that main gear in place. Alright, so now that we got the 4 screws out, we're just going to take this cover off. Alright, and then we're going to take our main gear and just slide it in place. And then we're going to reinstall this plate that holds the main gear down, and then reinstall our 4 M3x10 hex screws. Alright, so now that we got our mains installed, the next thing we're going to do is install our nose gear. So basically, we're going to unravel these wires and just fish them through. We'll worry about making it look clean later when we're doing our receiver. Now in the bag are 6 of these self-tapping screws. You're only going to need 4, so you'll have 2 additional extras. Alright, so now that we got the 4 screws installed on the nose, so be careful with installing those screws. You don't want to over tighten them, they're just plastic. We can now set our Otter on its mains. Look at that. Alright, so the next step that we're going to do is install the horizontal stabs onto your tail section. For that, we're going to need our carbon spar for the horizontal stab, and then 4 of your M3x10 hex screws. One thing to keep in mind is that you've got on one side, I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but this little prong right here has a octagon shape. That's the male end, and then on the right side has the female end. So when you install this onto the plane, you need to make sure that they are, basically at neutral position, because it's going to make both of the control surfaces level, right? So when we install it, we're going to make sure that this is level. Alright, we're going to do that now. So now that we've got them pretty much leveled, we're going to take our M3x10 screws and lock them in place. Alright, so now that we've got the tail section out, I just basically fished out the servo leads. You got one that is labeled rudder, and it's on a Y harness that is powering the navigation light to the top of the vertical stab, and then the other one is your elevator. So you basically just match the polarities and make sure you plug in the correct servo lead to the correct harness. Alright, and I'm just going to fish these wires back in here just to kind of tuck some of this wire so it doesn't get pinched, because the next thing we're going to do is install our carbon spar for the tail section. And just pretty much guide the wires into place. Now some of those wires will retract back into the fuselage. I just wanted to clean it up a little bit so that it sits flush. So then the next thing we're going to do is install our M3 by 20 bolt. So one's going to go on the top of the fuselage. Put this over. And we're going to install the bottom. Okay, so the next step now is to install the propeller and the spinner on the Otter. So we're just going to take our hub off, install the base of our spinner, and just slide as far back as you can, install your prop, and then reinstall your hub back in place. And then I'm just going to take my hex driver and just tighten this down as tight as I can without stripping it. Alright, so that's pretty snug. That's not coming out. We're going to install our nose cone, but we're going to retrieve our M3 by 10 hex screw. Alright, so now that the fuselage is nearly complete, the only thing we need to do now is install our wing. So before we can do that, we're going to install our wing supports. So they are labeled left and right side, and this is just a sticker, so I highly encourage you guys to either use a Sharpie or whatever, because once these labels come off, they may not fit if you put the wrong side to the wing to the fuselage. So the screws for it is already pretty much like screwed into place. So you got one right here, and then also on the other side for the bottom of the wing support, and then on the bottom of the actual wing where the supports go, the screws are also there. So if you're looking for it in your bag, it's not going to be there. It's installed onto the fuselage and also onto the wing. So we're just going to go ahead and back those out so we can install these wing supports. Alright, so I pretty much just have the wing support in position right now. It's not screwed in place just yet. I'm going to go ahead and install our carbon wind spar. And we're going to slide our wings in place. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and button down the wing supports now. Alright, so now for the top of our wings, we're going to use our M3 by 16 hex screws. Well, there you have it, guys, the complete unboxing and assembly of the Xfly-model Twin Otter. Now, as far as compartment area, there is so much room in the compartment for this 6L 5000 milliamp LiPo. I'm not sure if you guys could see that, but there's so much room in there for other electronics you guys want to do, such as FPV, or you're trying to put a camera in there for some aerial footages. Now, as far as your control throws, for your ailerons and low rates, it's 15 millimeters deflection, and then on high rates is 18. And then the same goes for your elevator, 15 on low, 18 on high. And then your rudder is 15 on low, and then 20 on high. Now, as far as your flap settings for takeoff, it's 18 millimeters for takeoff, and then 35 millimeters for landing. CG is 61 millimeters from the leading edge back. So pretty much where my battery is at, I am neutral at CG. So we're gonna find out tomorrow during our maiden flight footage. So that's it for now. I will see you guys on the runway for the maiden flight.